and welcome to the United Hour. This is the Brentford Manchester United preview, and inside the house with me is the man Devin, and we have a special guest with us today. But go ahead, Devin. Go ahead.
So we have to explain who we have with us here today right now.
Yes, I was not going to do
this is
that.
Brentford royalty. This is Brentford Hall of Famer. 233 appearances, 105 goals, match-winning goal in Division 3 championship. Yes, we have the Gary Blissett, who is also the director of one of the top football programs, football academies in Florida Premier. So yes, we have Mr. Gary Blissett.
Thank you for that introduction. Once again, I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about. And as Devin will tell you, I'm very low key. I was born in a place where we didn't have much food, we didn't have much going on, but I'm down to earth. I'm like you guys, Yes, I played football, but I love football. I love talking about football. I love watching football, and let's get the show on the road.
And you got the opportunity to do what you love, which is always good, professionally. Yeah. Gary, you played in the Premier League during what era? What time frame?
I played in the between 93 and 96. I actually had 6 very, very good years at Brentford, who were then in what was then Division 2. And after a very good season, I was sold to Wimbledon, who were then known as the Crazy Gang. I don't know if you know who the Crazy Gang were.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, I signed a 3-year deal at Wimbledon. But it was the time where the Premier League was changing, sort of, into what it is today. In other words, and what I mean by that is, we had a squad of 25 to 30 players, which was unprecedented at that time. So there were 4 centre forwards, and it was more and more difficult to get in the team. And it was probably, if I'm really honest, one of my mistakes in my football career, although playing in the Premier League, as we all know, is the pinnacle of English football. But in hindsight, it may have been a bit better to stay at Brentford or look at other options. But I did it, I'm proud of it, and the rest is history,
Gary, I wanna ask you if you remember this picture here.
I do.
For people who are unsure, that is Gary, number 36, tackling Eric Cantona. What was it like being in the Premier League during that era? And what was it like playing Manchester United during that time?
Well, as you guys obviously know, United in that era were the creme de la creme. They were the best team in England and in Europe. And it was very difficult to beat them, very difficult to play against them. And they had this genius called Eric Cantona. And I can honestly say, probably the best player I have ever played against. A pleasure to watch, a genius on the field, and probably one of the best signings that Alex Ferguson made in this era of these 10 years that Man United won, I think it was 8 or 9 titles. He was an inspiration. He was cool. I always say this, and I don't know if it's ever been said before, he was the Elvis of Manchester United in this time. and I'll leave it at that.
Enough said. So Gary, you'll be returning to Brentford for the match on the weekend, correct? Tomorrow?
Yes, I'm actually in near Watford at the moment, staying at my daughter's, and there's 5 of us, all three of my daughters, 2 of them that were born in Brentford, and my youngest, who was born in Germany. We're all trying to figure out a way to get to Brentford from Watford tomorrow because there's a train strike.
Oh no.
Yes, so we're working out the best way to get there. We're going to meet some friends before the game for a bite to eat, and then we're going to head to the stadium. Fortunately, it's a 5:30 kickoff in England, as we all know, so it sort of made it slightly easier, but it's still going to be a challenge to get over and watch the game. But I'm looking forward to it.
So I'm sure that our friend of the show, Billy, has definitely reached out to you. For those who remember from our last Brentford preview where I had Billy on and interviewed him, I'm sure he's already reached out to you, and I'm sure you guys will meet up for something as well too.
We will meet up.
You definitely have to send him our regards as well too. It's a shame that we just missed each other only by a couple of days in London. Otherwise, it would have been definitely great to be doing this live in a pub with a couple of pints. So
it would have been unique. It would have been unique, you know. But
a pint makes everything better.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that we will have plenty of pints once you're back here in Tampa. So.
Oh, I can't wait. I think this is great what you do, and I think it's a testament to the growth of support in and around America and the islands. I think it's brilliant. Football's in a different place now, and for the good, I must say. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. I know you asked me for a prediction.
Well, we're gonna get to predictions just now.
Okay.
And predictions just now.
Okay.
Did you watch a lot of Brentford when they were in the championship?
Not really, because obviously living in America or living in Germany as I was at the time, you didn't get a lot of coverage from the championship. I did follow the scores, obviously, and I did watch the final at Wembley against Swansea, which was a resounding victory for the Bees, and stamped their place in the Premier League. The first thing I look at every time I look at the scores is Brentford. Goes without saying.
All right, I was going to ask you about the midfielder De Silva. He was injured for almost all of last season, so we haven't really seen much of him. But I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on him, what he was like in the championship, because I keep hearing that he was such an instrumental player in Brentford reaching to the Premier League.
Do you know the worst thing for a footballer is being injured and not being able to play? And then you have the second problem of being a player that was injured and wanting to play and being fit again. It's finding that match fitness and being right at the level where these players have been for the last how many games, whatever games that is. It's so difficult to get back in the rhythm of playing week in, week out, Saturday, Tuesday, or Saturday. Once he finds that full rhythm and gets his place fully in the team, which I know he's going to find, you're going to see a machine.
Well, that's what I'm hearing. I keep hearing really good things about our player.
Yes, he's going to be a machine. It's finding that happy medium, where you're consistently playing and consistently playing well. Because that's another thing. In the Premier League, you can't play good one week and not so good the next couple of weeks and then good again. You have to be consistently good. And I know this young man will find that.
Gary, for a second there, I thought you was talking about Manchester United players, yes? In terms
I've
of
not seen a
inconsistency.
consistent Man United player for about 5 years.
All right.
If you know of one, let me know, please.
So let me bring up Brentford's.
I didn't hear Devin then.
This is
Let me-
Brentford's
I'm just
squad.
gonna put the glasses on so I can look at this.
Yeah, so this is Brentford's squad that played last week.
Yes.
Are you expecting the same team to run out to start?
I don't see why not. I don't see why anything could change there, except maybe I don't know if Jansen will start. I don't know. But I think everything else will stay the same.
Now, Brentford has been making very good competition since coming up to the Premier League, right? They have shown themselves more than capable to be Premier League worthy and to stay up.
Yes.
I expect the game to be very competitive. And then right now, Manchester United's form is horrible. Brentford came back from 2-0 down last week against Leicester to level that game 2-2. So they showed the grit and the fight that they would have. You know, what are your thoughts about Brentford? Not so much specifically just this game, but throughout the course of the season. Where do you think Brentford is gonna end up?
Well, let me just go back to what you just said. I think Brentford have consistently shown that they're not one of the big players in the Premier League. They've proved that they are more than capable to hold their own. But football's a funny game, yeah? We know how Brentford last year, I think they finished 12th, if I'm not mistaken, or around that sort of area. Anything can happen with football. Anything can happen. You can have a bad 2 or 3 games, or in Brentford's case last year, a bad 7 or 8 games, and you think you're never going to get a point. And then all of a sudden, in Brentford's case last year, comes Christian Eriksen, and they get back on the winning trail. And that's why I find it very, very difficult to make predictions. I find it virtually impossible to make predictions. You know, where are Brentford going to finish this season? Are they going to finish in the top 10? You know, there's Brentford fans saying, maybe we're going to be in the top 6, 8 this year. It's impossible to predict. We all hope they're going to continue to excel and continue to flourish and enjoy being a part of the Premier League. But it's a very, 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 very difficult question.
I hear that. Before the last part we're going to do is prediction. So let's deal with Devin. Devin, you have a very interesting team.
Yes, so for my side, I actually went with a 4-3-3. Unfortunately, I saw in person how much we cannot depend on the midfield of Fred and McTominay. We need to make that change. We need somebody that can play some type of defensive midfielder. And the only thing that comes close to it in our side right now is our new signing. So I am saying taking Martinez out of the center back spot, and we have to play him in the defensive midfield position for this game. We have to start playing Erik ten Hag's style of ball, not playing the United way that we've seen for seasons, aka inconsistency FC. So for my lineup, I've actually going to stick De Gea in the back, Dalot, Maguire, Varane will come in. Hopefully he can stay fit. And then I also would like to see Malacia get a start. I thought that Luke Shaw was kind of poor in his showing in the last match. And you know what? I want to see Ten Hag send out a message, which is also why I want to see Fred and McTominay set to the bench as well. Where if you want to get back in this side, you have to earn your spot. So then, of course, that leaves the midfield 3. We're going to play Martinez, Eriksen, and Bruno. So I think that could potentially do something for unlocking Brentford's defense. Up top, obviously Sancho, Ronaldo, and Rashford. Right now, I think he's kind of in the last chance shot right now, to be very honest. Where if he does not do well this game, then you kind of have to take him out and start putting in Elanga in his place. And so this is my thinking with the side right now. This is also with Liverpool coming up the following match. You want to make sure you have your system down before we play them. So although realistically, I don't think we're going to get any points out of that match. You at least want to see this. You at least want to see Ten Hag's system. You want to see it go into a system, not the same system that we've seen fail for the last how many seasons now in a row. So, with that being said, this is how I'm going against Brentford.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. I really don't have a. I agree that we need to play 4-3-3. I don't think that Ten Hag is going to push Martinez into the midfield. Not because we don't need it. What you said is totally valid. But if you're going to be building a centre-back partnership, I think we need Martinez to play next to Harry Maguire because we saw a little bit of newness, errors made because of newness in the first game, right? In terms of they wasn't sure who's going to run to the man, who's going to pick up. That kind of communication that only comes from playing together. Who is going to fully roll in the middle? Because obviously Fred and Scott are not doing it. I have no idea. We are recording this before the press conference, so we also don't know the status of Martial. He may be back with us, but even if he is, I don't expect him to start. I think Ronaldo would start, and if there's anything, Martial might come off the bench. So other than Martinez, I totally agree with your team. Malacia definitely should be on for sure. Sure didn't feature well, and you know where we have depth in positions, the coach should send a message. There are certain positions we don't have depth in, so that's going to be kind of tough. But Shaw didn't have a good game. You can kick him out and bring in Malacia, definitely. So let's get into predictions. I know Gary says he doesn't like to do predictions, but what would a preview show be without a prediction, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, the reason I don't like to predict is I don't think United were going too well last year, and they came to Brentford and won 3-1, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, for large sections of that game, Brentford played better than us.
So if I remember that correctly, it was the only reason why we won that game is because you didn't finish your chances. But you had more chances in that match.
Yep, Brentford dominated the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be right. That could be right. I remember that. It was the same against Man City, to be honest. It was very, very sort of strange game against Man City. Brentford against Man City at home. Oh, predictions. I hate them. For the simple reason I don't want to let my club down. But I know Manchester United. I don't believe Manchester United are a good team. I don't believe Manchester United are the real Manchester United. I don't believe it. I believe Manchester United need to start again from zero. But they have a lot of experienced players in that team. If Ronaldo starts, he may get a goal. He's got to prove to the club that he's worthy of staying there, regardless of what's happened over the last 4 to 6 weeks, right? Because half the fans are saying, get rid of him. Half the fans are saying, we need him. Rashford's not scoring goals. Sancho's not scoring goals. Who's scoring goals for Man United if Ronaldo isn't? Fernandes is not hitting the target. We saw that last week. He's, hitting balls over the top, and he's not being as creative as we know he can be. I'm going to tip 1-1.
All right, fair enough. Devin?
I was actually going to say 2-2 for this match. I could see Ronaldo scoring. I could potentially see us. I'm actually thinking Ericsson may score against his old club. I think Tony is going to get me some fantasy points this weekend coming up, so I think he's going to get on the score sheet as well. I'm trying to figure out who would be the next goal scorer for you guys now too, though. But I could see this match finishing as a draw right now. United right now are very inconsistent. Brentford's going to remember what happened last season when United came, and they're going to want revenge. So I have to think that it's going to be a 2-2 draw.
For
So we
whatever
both agree
reason,
on a draw. That's okay.
for whatever reason, this Manchester United team seems mentally weak. And I totally understand what Gary is talking about when he says the real Manchester United, which is a team that comes dominant, ready to play, almost like a machine. This team is far from that. And I actually think this team will play a little better away from home because over the past few seasons, when we play at home, I don't know, guys tend to choke up. I don't know. Normally the crowd helps to push the players. It seems the opposite at United right now. So I actually think the level of performance we're going to get is going to be better simply because we're playing away. So that being said, I think that will give us enough. So I'm looking for a 2-1 to United. But I mean, we've all put our predictions out there, so we'll see how it goes.
It's crazy what you just said there, and I totally respect what you just said. But Man United will win away from home because it's very difficult to win at home. It's how can Man United not win in the theatre of dreams? Isn't
No,
it?
well, it's you
No,
see. Mhm.
isn't it crazy what we're talking about now?
No, it
In,
is. It is. But I'm looking at statistically because you would recall under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when we had the record for most away wins in the Premier League, when we broke that record. You
yes,
know, and then the season when we finished third and then we finished second, the season we finished third, we weren't doing well. Two things happened: Bruno and COVID. So we finished off the season playing behind closed doors, and the team played well behind closed doors. In the entire season, when we finished second, it was behind closed doors, and the team played well when we played behind closed doors. So I have come to realize that we seem to perform better away from home, and we seem to perform better when they don't have crowds. Now that is crazy. I think every other team in the whole wide world performs better in front of their home crowd.
yeah,
But based on evidence, Manchester United right now seems to choke when they're in
yeah.
front of their home crowd. So
It's kind of crazy that you say that because it's like these. I completely agree that we play better. We play better away than we do at home. It's like they go in front of the 74,000, and all of a sudden, like all eyes are on them. They have nowhere to hide. But then as soon as the match is over, they're all over social media looking for likes. Post up long poems of apologies and different things like this. So I'm like, it's either inconsistency FC or social media FC, where it seems like with United now, instead of the real Manchester United, which Gary was alluding to earlier, it's something that has bothered me now for quite a bit. And it's something I
Yeah.
can't understand where if you don't have the mental strength to play at home how United's supposed to play, you should not be there.
and I totally agree with her. Right? I think as it is right now, the biggest challenge for Manchester United is psychological. The biggest challenge that Eric Ten Hag has is not just instilling his system, it's not just getting the players that he wants to get to come on. It is also, you know, just getting into the minds of these players. We can have a man like Harry Maguire, for example, being in the European team of the season, being in the World Cup team of the season, and being the butt of all jokes for Manchester United in the Premier League. Something is wrong. And more than anything else, I think it is something psychological. I'm not picking on Harry Maguire. I'm just using him as an example for the entire team. Something is wrong with this team. And I mean, we'll discuss that more in depth another day. We want to say much thanks to Gary for being part of the program today, being part of the preview. Please put your predictions in the comments. Let us know, what do you think the result is going to be, whether United are going to bounce back or whether we're going to continue to struggle to put Eric Ten Hag's system into place. Devin, anything to say before we head out?
Here's to hoping that my prediction is wrong and we get a victory.
I totally hear that. Fortunately for us, Gary is back. Hi, Gary. You're back just in time. You're now looking to shut down the program. So I could say with you on air, thank you very, very, very much for being part of the United Hour. And thank you very, very much, for sharing some of those memories with us. We're looking forward to having you back on the program another time.
You're welcome. And as a football fan, and I truly hope Man United is back on the football stage of where they used to be, because it makes great entertainment when you have the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Man City, Chelsea, all these great clubs. United belong there. I'm happy where they are now as a City fan, but they need to get back where they should be.
I hear that, and to be honest with you, I know a lot of rival supporters, and they all say the same thing. And I feel the same thing. I mean, I am so glad to see Nottingham Forest back up in the league. I am glad to see Leeds in the league. These are teams that we had rivalries with back in the day, and you want to see your rival. You want to play a rivals twice a season. You want them in the league and you want them performing. I don't want these teams to get relegated. I was glad Leeds stayed up last season, So I understand where you're coming from, and a lot of people who don't support United say the same thing. They're kind of shocked at how bad we've become. But let's hope with a new manager and new changes in the boardroom that we could see some improvement on the pitch. All right, guys, we're looking ahead. Remember, Red Devils, we don't die, we multiply.
Support the United Hour.